Hey guys, hope you're all well. In my last video, I took you through the cosmic blueprint of evolutionary astrology, so the natal chart and the structures and the foundations of the natal chart. And in this video, I just wanted to extrapolate a little bit on that, but in congruency with the Vedic principles of astrology. So in my first video, I did sort of a little bit, didn't explain it, but did basically mention about how there's different types of methodology with astrology. So the original astrology is Vedic, the Vedic principles, so the Eastern philosophy, and then there's the tropical system, which is the Western philosophy. The tropical system is basically where we create meridians between each of the planets in each of the houses and where they fall at the time of your birth. Vedic astrology is a little bit more convoluted than that, and can be very difficult to go through each minutiae of those principles, particularly in a video where I'm trying to keep it quite succinct, because it can be, like I said, very convoluted and a lot to take in. But again, I have my composite chart here, which just sort of more acts as a guide, as like a reference guide for me. So I talked about the different hemispheres, so the North and the South hemisphere, and how they play out in our lives, and the different quadrants as well. So I just wanted to again, extrapolate on that and talk a little bit more about the archetypes and the energies of that. In another video, I do want to discuss the aspects and the shapes between that create those meridians between the planets within the natal wheel. But I'll just keep it to the structures and foundations again today. All right. So we have our North and our South hemisphere. Okay. So our South hemisphere is basically speaks to introversion. So it's the things that play out in our inner world, and anything that happens above the horizon. Okay, so the ascending is what happens in our public world, so our external world. Okay, so we have our midheaven, so our MC, which is more the father archetype, and the IC, the Imam Coli, which is more the mother archetype. All right. So as far as the houses go, you can see the first three houses make up the first quadrant, all right, which is the southwest quadrant. Okay, so we have the first house, which is ruled by Aries and Mars. That is the first house of self and ego. All right, so when we incarnate into the 3D realm, the physical realm, we separate from that social complex. We separate from what's called unity consciousness, and we become a single physical entity. All right, so that's when the first house is when we become aware of ourselves. Okay, so that's why the first house is ruled by Mars, and it's all about self-expression and the ego. The ego is the characteristics that we display in society, okay, when dealing with society and societal influences. The second house is ruled by Taurus and Venus. Okay, so it's all about safety. Okay, so the root chakra. Okay, our first chakra. So safety, security, tangible possessions that we have that make us feel rooted here in the physical realm. And the third house is Mercury, Gemini, and that's all about communication. Okay, so this quadrant is all about awareness of self. Then we move into the East Hemisphere. Okay, so houses 4, 5, and 6. The fourth house is ruled by the moon in Cancer, and that's all about home. That is the mother archetype. Okay. Fifth house is ruled by the sun and Leo. That is all about creativity, self-expression, all the good things in life, romance, children. And the sixth house is Mercury at Virgo. And that is the sixth house of health and wellness, and also work. So not professional work, but how our personal style, how our work works in congruency with our core values and our personal ethics. Okay, so this quadrant here is all about the integration with our environment, with our personal environment. Okay, so home, creativity, and health and wellness. Okay, Now we have the northeast quadrant, okay, so now we go above the line, the ascending, okay, whereas below the line was the descending, makes sense. Houses 7, 8, and 9. The seventh house is ruled by Libra and Venus, and that's all about partnerships, okay, so duality, and how we relate to others and the people that we have personal relationships with. Doesn't necessarily mean intimate sexual or romantic relationships. We're talking work, we're talking the way that we relate to our parents, our family. Okay, 8th house is Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, and that is the house that rules inheritance, taxes, other people's money. 9th house is Sagittarius and Pluto, and that is that rules religion, philosophy, and higher learning. So this quadrant is where our entity, our physical single entity, becomes aware of others and how we integrate our personal ethics into those societal influences, okay? Then we have this quadrant here, okay, so the northeast quadrant, the northwest quadrant, so it houses 10, 11, and 12. So the 10th house is Capricorn, okay? Capricorn is as ruled by Saturn, okay? All about karmic laws. And that rules career, okay? Public image, fame. The 11th house is Aquarius, one of my personal favorites, only because the Aquarians in my life have taught me a lot about myself. Okay, so Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, okay, and is the ruler of community and groups of people. And then the beautiful 12th house, our last house in the natal wheel, which is Pisces, okay, ruled by Neptune, and that is all about how we integrate our subconscious, unconscious, and our consciousness here, our individual consciousness here in this 3D physical earth realm, okay? And this quadrant is all about integration with society, okay? Now, it's very interesting to also note that the difference, so we've got the meridian here, so the difference between the north and the west and the east hemispheres. Here we have, if you have a lot of activity in your natal chart in the west quadrant, that talks about free will, your soul contract. So that means that you basically have a very clear path when you incarnate into this life, and you very much make your own destiny. Then if you have a lot of activity in the eastern hemisphere, that means that you've come here for a very specific purpose. So I know on my natal chart, most of the activity, most of the meridians and aspects and shapes occur in this area of my natal chart. So, and I know, I've always known that I'm here for a very specific purpose. Figuring out that purpose has been a little bit more complicated. But this is all about destiny and karmic purpose, okay? All right, so I hope that clarifies things for you a little bit and helps you to be able to interpret your chart, your natal chart a little bit more. Like I said, in the next video, I do want to talk a little bit more about the shapes and the aspects and the meridians that create that connection between each of the planets, and how the archetypes of those planets influence our lives and how our lives play out. But if you do have any suggestions, as I say on all my videos, please just drop a comment in the sections below, in the comments sections below. Please like and share this video, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also hit the notification button so you get a notification every time I upload a video as well. All right, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I feel very honored, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye, guys.